How's it going, everyone? Today I'm going to be talking about the camera setup of my dreams. I waited for this for 10 years, and by camera setup I mean camera body and lens combinations. I got my first DSLR, a Canon 200D, or the Rebel XTI as it's called in the US, or the Kiss X as it's called in Japan, way back in 2007. That's 10 years ago. I got only the body without the kit lens. I paired it with a Canon EF 1.4 50mm normal prime lens. The photos you're seeing now are product shots I took of them when I was going to post them for sale. I always post my older cameras up online for sale. Same goes with lenses. Over the decade, and yes, it's been 10 years since 2007, I've had 4 more DSLRs since that first 400D in 2007. I got the 500D in 2009, and then in 2011 I sold that 500D and got the 60D, and then in 2014 I sold that 60D and got the Canon 100D. The Canon 100D was actually a market downgrade from the Canon 60D in price, in size, and in Canon's product lineup. However, I chose the Canon 100D just because it's so light and small. During that time, I also had varying lens configurations. I stuck with using only that 50mm normal lens I mentioned earlier for 1 whole year before buying a whole new fleet of other lenses to go with my first DSLR. I bought all-rounder zooms like a 28 to 105, though that was secondhand. Wide primes, ultra-wide zooms, etc. I experimented a bunch, and thankfully I got a lot cheap secondhand. Like I would buy a couple, then sell them, then try out a few more. I never had more than 3 lenses at a time in my possession though, as I would sell them upon buying a new one. A few months after I got my 100D in 2014, I sold my existing lens lineup, which at that time consisted of my f1.4 50mm normal prime lens. Got that way back in 2007 with my first camera that I'd sold since then. A second-hand EFS 17 to 85 zoom, and the awesome, very wide angle EFS 10 to 22mm. I sold them all and proceeded to buy new lenses. I actually had enough money from the proceeds to cover my new purchases, and I only had to add a little. The 3 new lenses I bought in 2014 were the cheapish and newish at the time STM lenses of Canon. I got the 40mm pancake prime to replace my 50mm normal lens. It's really small. It's actually what I'm using right now to shoot this video. Then I got the EFS 24mm pancake prime. It's currently mounted to my old 100D. It's here right now. See how small it is? It's like half the height of my little thumb. The 40mm I'm using to shoot this right now, which I showed you on my mirror, is also this size. It's this tiny. I really like these pancakes. Now I have 2 pancakes, the 40mm that's being used for this video, and this 24mm tiny ass pancake, and this EFS 10 to 18mm ultra wide angle zoom. Now, I emphasize that the STM lenses I mentioned, they cannot actually compare to the previous lenses I sold in terms of raw image quality. The 10 to 22mm that I sold actually opens wider. I think it's f3.5, and this is just f4.5, but it doesn't really matter to me in the dark because when you pump up the ISO nowadays with modern cameras, it's not really as bad as before. So it's fine. Not to mention this 10 to 18mm ultra wide, it's so much cheaper than the 10 to 22. So when I sold it secondhand, I actually had enough money to cover a brand new one of this. This is super light because it's like all plastic. Yep, this is plastic. The 10 to 22 had a stainless steel base. But like I said, I'm not saying that these are cheaper and yet greater. These are cheaper and you do sacrifice a little in terms of raw image quality, but the trade-off is worth it for me. And I don't really shoot pictures that require pixel perfection, so the slightly more inferior image quality doesn't matter to me. Another bonus is that these 3 STM lenses are from Canon's new STM line that's specifically designed to work smoothly with the video function of their newer cameras. So for the past 3 years, I've been pretty happy with my current lineup of my 2 pancake prime lenses and my ultra-wide zoom 10 to 18. So those 3 lenses paired with my tiny Canon 100D is my dream setup. It's so small and light. And no, I didn't go and buy a whole new Olympus or Panasonic Micro Four Thirds setup because it would have cost me more than double to duplicate what I currently have, meaning those focal lengths for those pancakes and my ultra-wide zoom. The only flaw, if I could call it that, of the 100D is the lack of a swing-out LCD at the back. I loved having a swing-out LCD in the camera that I had before I got this, which namely was the 60D. It's great to behold my camera up at odd angles and then be able to swing out the LCD and see what I'm shooting, especially if you're a short person like me. Or right now, if I'm shooting a short video, if I have a swing out LCD, I can flip it to me and see where I am. But without a swing out LCD, I kind of have to do guesswork, or I have to fiddle with plugging my camera to my laptop via USB and then using my laptop as an external monitor, which is a whole lot of hassle. So if there was anything I wanted to add to this 100D, it's just a swing out LCD, and it would have been a perfect camera. For the past decade, Canon would release new entry-level to mid-range cameras every 12 to 18 months, more or less. However, the 100D, I bought it actually second quarter 2014, but it was released the fall of 2013. Going by the past release cycles, you would expect a successor to come out by 2015, but 2015 rolled and nothing. I was worried that they wouldn't be releasing a successor to this one anymore. I was thinking that they maybe would cut this tiny DSLR line and just focus on the somewhat bigger entry-level ones, which, you know, they're pretty nice, that 700D line, but they're still kind of much heavier than this. Or the line of the 2-digit Ds, I thought maybe they just go into that, or their full frames, or they're just gonna go into their mirrorless lines or something. But I really like this because I don't know, I like having a DSLR just because it's so fast when you turn it on, like it's instantaneous. So, and not to mention, I already have invested all, you know, my lenses and then my accessories, whatever. So I really didn't want this line to die. And I wanted an update to this because it's near perfect. I wanted one with a swing out LCD, and I figured if there was an update to this one, that's gonna be on the next one, because what else could they add here, right? And finally, 4 years after this 100D was released, which is a long time for an entry-level camera, Canon released the 200D, and it has a swing-out LCD. I'm actually using the 200D right now to shoot this. All previous footage also, like from here and the past few minutes. I'm now going to switch over to my 100D to shoot the succeeding footage, so I can hold the 200D to show you. Well, this is the glorious 200D, aka the Rebel SL2 in the US. This is the box. It's just as tiny as the 100D, which I can't demo to you now because I'm using it to shoot this video right now, but with the added improvement of a swing out LCD. No longer will I have to wing it while standing on tiptoe or holding my cam at an odd angle. It's got new additions too, like Wi-Fi and other things, but those don't really matter to me. My friend helped me bring this over to Manila from Japan, hence the KISS X9 label here. Canon's nomenclature for their cheaper cameras goes like this. The Rebel series in the US, like earlier I mentioned the Rebel XTI, Rebel X, Rebel this or that, or the KISS something for Japan, KISS X this, X that. So the 100D was known as the X7, this is the X9, I don't know why they skipped 8. And for the rest of the world, they call it by either their 3-digit or 4-digit numbers and then a letter D at the end. So 100D, 500D, 1000D, 1300D, and so on. 2-digit Ds and up are considered more expensive, so they no longer warrant a nickname of Rebel or X. So for now, my current setup will be these two pancake lenses, the 24mm pancake, the 40mm pancake that I'm using to shoot this video right now, which is now mounted my 100D, so I can't really show you, and my ultra-wide EFS 10 to 18mm zoom. It's super light, super small, and pretty affordable for a DSLR setup. It took a decade for me to get this dream setup. And for once, I'm actually not looking for the next thing to come out to upgrade or to swap things out or to change things up again. This Canon 200D or the Rebel SL2 or the KISS X9 is actually pretty similar to its predecessor, the Canon 100D, beloved for 3 years, that I'm now putting up on sale because I got this. The major difference for me is the grip. The protrusion is more protruded. I don't know how to word it, but when you grip it, you really have more of a handhold. What else changed? The top changed. So the little dial here, it's missing a bunch of the preset modes of the previous one, The ones with pictures of the flower and some guy running and the person's face for portrait. I've never actually ever used those modes. Even when I used to have a point and shoot, they also had those modes. I never knew how to use them. So the biggest improvement for me is really the swing out LCD. Well, that's it. That's my dream setup, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.